Yes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna everyone. We are the students of MIT WPU, specifically from SYBA English Honours. I am Sia Mehta.
And I'm Rhythm Bhati.
And today we have Krishna Das Prabhuji with us, who is a saint here, who we believe will be of immense help to us through his expertise in the field of spirituality. So Guruji, before we begin, I would just like to say that we are really grateful that you are available for an interview with us on such a short notice. So can we start by
My
knowing
pleasure,
a
please.
little bit about your background?
Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Kadamba Krishna Das, alias called as Kaustubh Bhagwat. I am a mechanical engineer by profession, and I run a business with. We work into industrial automation, mechatronics, robotics, and stuffs for material handling systems and conveying systems. I've been associating with ISKCON for last somewhat 25 years now, from my early college days when I used to be like you guys, and when I was doing my engineering, just after passing out from my engineering, I joined ISKCON because uh, I really found it very helpful in my overall professional and personal life and my social life. And I've been pursuing my spiritual life, which includes, of course, a study of the scriptures, understanding what the higher truths of life is, understanding what is the role of the mind, the role of the intelligence, the role of the spirit, the role of the modes of material nature, which actually affects the performance in our personal, professional, social, and academic life. Uh, I can say, many of you must not be even at the age of what I've been pursuing spiritual life for. So I must say, after an experience of almost 20-25 years, this is something that really helps you to grow to a great deal, to improve your performance, to improve your focus, to improve your attention. And of course, it gives you a higher purpose in life. It gives you a purpose in life wherein you can do something for the society. It gives you a purpose in life wherein you can actually help people around you.
Uh, Leading on to the next question, I would like to ask you because you mentioned that you pursued this since you were in college. So, how was your path to enlightenment? How did you actually go for this?
So, there is always a trigger in life wherein you have some extreme emotional experiences, wherein you need to search for things in life which can give you a different dimension. Now, you have something which is called as the vertical growth, something which is called as the horizontal growth. So vertically you grow when you add up things organically. Horizontally you grow when you add up things inorganically. You acquire some skills, you acquire some set of knowledge. And vertically is how much you input your skill set into actual productive work. But there is a third dimension. There's one vertical, there's one horizontal, but there's a third dimension which takes you to the depths of life. you know what we do in the present day modern society is we just want to grow horizontally or vertically, but we don't want to go deep inside our own self, deep inside uh, the real purpose of our life. And this is what triggered me, because what I was doing materially would never actually give me the level of satisfaction I was looking for. And that triggered a point wherein I must say that I turned towards studying scripture, specifically Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, because the Gita gives you a complete total dimension. It takes you a different paradigm, and it completely opens up your mind and your outlook towards things. So that really helped me, and that was the trigger in my life. Because um, I'll tell you something very personal that happened to me. Uh, it was way back in 99 2000, where both of my grandma, my father's mother and my mother's mother, they expired in a span of 2 months, and that really took me aback emotionally. I started to search for what exactly life is, why birth and death do really exist, why do different type of miseries exist for which people are suffering in this world, and why do I have to go undergo so many intense emotional distress. So that really triggered me something, and I'm sure everybody of us nowadays, it's very common to have stress in your life. I mean, when we talk about stress management, we actually uh, are learning to live with it. Instead of learning to live with it, we must learn how to manage it, or we must learn how to reduce it, or we must learn how to eradicate it. Life in the previous ages would be more happier, more satisfying. Now we have a lot of valuables, we have a lot of gadgets, but still the quality of life that we are leading is not to that extent. And these are some facts that actually triggered my way towards spiritual enlightenment.
Also, do you think there has to be a specific incident in your life where you should, like after that incident, you eventually connect to Gita? Because our generation, like especially me, I have tried reading Gita, but it's really difficult for me to understand it.
Yeah. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that there are four type of people who actually come to me and surrender unto me. And those four type of people, he says, Arto, Artharthi, Jnani and Jidnyasu. So what does each type means? Arto means one who is distressed. Artha is distress, suffering. So one who is distressed, Arto. Artharthi, one who is in want of things, money specifically. Artha is money. So one who is Artharthi, one who is Arto, one who is Jnani, one who is in knowledge, one who knows that this is to be done. And the fourth class is Jidnyasu, one who has deep inquiry in his heart, who really wants to know things, who really has that type of curiosity. These are the four class of people that approach me. I'll tell you, 95% of men fall in the category of Artho and Artharthi. You know? So, very few of them are really Jnani or Jidnyasu, really curious to know things, really have that level of knowledge that yes, they should surrender. So Bhagavad Gita is kind of a scripture which is extremely divine, but it is highly practical. Now when you say divine, it is above the material realm, and when you say practical, it is applicable in the material realm. So these are two contradictory planes, and to have a sync between them, to have a synthesis of both these contradictory aspects, you need somebody who can help you to understand the Gita. And I was so fortunate that I had wonderful mentors in my life. I had my spiritual master, my Gurudev, who helped me to understand Gita. It is not possible without a realized spiritual mentor to understand the Gita.
Okay, so talking about the times when you decided to join ISKCON, what importance does this place hold in your life? And apart from that, what are the activities or rituals that take place on a daily basis for the visitors to feel connected?
Okay, so when I first came in contact with devotees who are essentially the members of ISKCON, I found these people are very different. To be very honest, these people, they just don't talk things, but they also try to walk their talk. They also try to implement things in their life, no matter how long they take to implement the teachings of the scriptures in their life, but they are trying very hard to implement things in life. There might be some or the other vices, there might be some or the other shortcomings in each personality. It happens, it differs from person to person, but at the same time they are trying very hard to implement the teachings of Gita. So what I found in ISKCON is, here you not only learn Gita, but you learn how to live Gita, and that's more important. You know, just talking doesn't make any sense. You need to implement the teachings that Krishna has taught you, that Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, has taught you, and that makes a huge difference going ahead. So when I first came in contact with devotees, I was really impressed with the way they are really trying to follow things, and I was inspired by their personal examples to to follow these teachings. And when I started, I started very small, very small. So there are no rituals kind of a thing. What is a ritual? A ritual is something which you do as a duty. Here things have to be done out of love. So the main difference in the devotees of ISKCON and other religious sects is that the devotees of ISKCON are really trying hard to implement things in their life out of love for the Supreme Lord and not as a duty. In the beginning, it might be because somebody has told you, because somebody has instructed you, you do it as a duty because you get inspired by that person, because you get really affected by that person, and you try to follow it. It might sound as a ritual, but going ahead, it's not a ritual. It's not a joke that you get up early morning and you. So, what are the daily activities? The main activity that the entire system of ISKCON is based on chanting the holy names of the Lord. So it is given in the scriptures that the sound vibration is very important. If you study science or engineering, you'll find there are vibrations everywhere. There are vibrations in the form of sound. There are vibrations in the form of waves. Everywhere there are vibrations, and these vibrations have different frequencies. You can perceive some, you cannot perceive some. So these frequencies actually affect your mind. It actually affects your mental plane. Now, when you come in contact with certain frequencies, your mind gets calmed down. Have you experienced going to the temple and calming your mind, feeling some peace out of it? The same thing if you go to a discotheque is a different aspect altogether. You can find vibrations in both the places, but there's a difference in the vibration. So, what are these vibrations related to? These vibrations are related to the modes of material nature. And what are the modes of material nature? There are three modes of material nature. One is the mode of goodness, one is the mode of ignorance, one is the mode of passion. So, Krishna explains in the Gita these three modes of material nature, and he explains what are the significances of a person who is in each of the mode of material nature. So, a person in the mode of goodness, he is more calm, at peace, he is more inclined towards acquiring knowledge. It's easy for a person to be in a mode of a person in a mode of goodness to assimilate what he is hearing. So, students, specifically students like you are studying, you should be in the mode of goodness. Why? Because mode of goodness will help you to understand, recollect, and reproduce what you are hearing, what you are listening, what you are learning. So that is the sign of mode of goodness. What is the mode of passion? You become more passionate, you become restless. You become restless. So you find getting distracted when you start studying, right? Nowadays it's very common to get distracted. And you guys, when you study online on gadgets, it's more than easy to get distracted any moment. So where does this distraction comes from? This distraction comes from the mode of passion. And what is mode of ignorance? Mode of ignorance is essentially the mode wherein a person goes into deep sinful activities. What is sinful activities? He gets into addiction, he gets into all nonsensical things where his mind is not with his actions. You need your mind with your actions, with your goal aligned. If you have a goal in place, but your mind is not aligned with it, you are not going to achieve it at any point of time. So, mode of ignorance will take you more into lethargy, more into laziness. People with mode of ignorance, they are into addiction, they are more lazy, they are more lethargic, they sleep a lot, they do all nonsensical things which are against the natural cycle of our body. There's a biological cycle that we have. It's essential to our parents tell us that you sleep early, rise early, and what we do the exactly opposite. Why? Because coming in contact with all these factors, we are actually going into the mode of ignorance. Going into the mode of ignorance will not help you to learn better. So, it's important to stay in the mode of goodness. So, all the activities that we do in ISKCON helps us to stay in goodness. How? Chanting of the holy name, rising early, hearing and doing kirtan, taking darshan of the deities, hearing the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So these have been done daily, starting at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock. So the early morning time is very essential, very important. If you focus on certain activity in the early time of the morning, it becomes very easy to correct things. So the main activities that we follow is essentially chanting of the holy name, because that purifies your mind, that purifies your desires, that helps you to control your mind. I hope you guys believe that controlling the mind is essential. है ना? So it's very difficult to control the mind. It's essential, but it's very difficult. So to make it easy, chanting of the holy name will help you, and that is what my personal experience is, and that is what the experience of hundreds and thousands of devotees say.
Before we move on to the next question, I would like to ask you about the three modes of ignorance.
Material
the
nature.
three modes of material nature, and also about how the four sorts of devotees that you talked about, how they are interconnected.
Okay. So, Chaturvida bhajante mam, Krishna says in the Gita, Arto Artharthi and Jnani and Jidnyasu. So, they may not be interconnected. Every person is a different person. It is the motive of the person, Krishna says, that once he comes in contact with devotees, once he comes in contact with the scriptures, once he comes in contact with Krishna through his words, then everybody more or less is on the same platform progressing towards the ultimate realization. But it is just the entry point, it is just the trigger in life. Some people may have trigger as distress, some people may have trigger as desires and wants, some people may have curiosity in mind as a trigger, some people may have actual knowledge as a trigger, but they are very few. So it's just a trigger that helps you to come in contact with devotees and helps you to come in contact with the Supreme Lord. But when you come into contact, more or less everybody is on the same realm and they try to progress towards the ultimate realization.
Now, actually, our online participants, even they would like to ask you some questions. So
Please go ahead.
mic to them.
Yeah. Who will take the lead?
Hare Krishna. My
Yes.
name is Nishita Mehta. My question for you, can you share some practices or rituals that you have certain significance in your life or the spiritual path you are following in daily life?
Share some practical or practices. What?
Practices or rituals that are that lead you to your spiritual path and the significance they have in your life.
Okay. So it is said that the main practice in the age of Kali, we are in the Kali Yoga, right? There are four types of yogas mentioned in the scriptures. One is Satya Yoga, one is Treta Yoga, one is Dwapar Yoga, and the fourth is Kali Yoga. So presently we are in the age of Kali. What is Kali essentially means? Kali comes from the word Kalaha. Kalaha is quarrel. So this is the age of quarrel, and you can find people quarreling every now and then and everywhere. So this is a very difficult age to actually live into. But the scripture says it becomes more easier to bear this age, bear this time, if you follow the right practices which are prescribed in this age. So, what are those right practices? So, it is said that Kalautad Hari Kirtanat. In Kali Yuga, there is no other practice. No other practice. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Aiva Kevalam. Kalau Nastieva, Nastieva, Nastieva Gatiranyatha. It is said that in Kali Yuga, the easiest practice you can do is chanting of the holy name. So that is the main practice. You can find people around the world, they are accepting the holy name, they are chanting the holy name, they are doing kirtan, they are preaching, they are dancing, they are into full on masti. And this is what, now this will give you enjoyment. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. So what is Ramanti cha? Ramanti means it gives you enjoyment. What is Tushyanti? It satisfies you. So it is not that you become an ascetic and leave your home and go into some secluded place and sit and follow some tapasya. No, it's not like that. It's very practical. Like you see me in this attire at the moment. Today is a Sunday, but on my normal working days, I am in a formal attire. doing my regular activities, doing my regular business. I own an enterprise where we employ more than 60, 70 people. We do different kind of stuffs, but following spiritual practices helps you. It helps you a lot to pursue your professional activities, to pursue your academic activities. So it's important that you follow the yoga dharma. So what is the yoga dharma? It is said Kalautad Hari Kirtanat, nothing else. And you find in any sorts of scriptures, any sorts of religion, more or less it is mentioned. Even in the Bible, it is mentioned that you should chant the holy name. Right? Even the Mohammedans, they what do? They chant the names of Allah. So Christians, they chant the names of God. And what do? We chant the name of Krishna. So more or less, if you see, in 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 Hinduism also, in Sanatan Dharma also, all the sects, all the sampradayas, all the paramparas, more or less they will instruct you to chant. Sikhism also, you have a specific scripture in the Sikhism that is called as Japuji Sahib, that talks only about chanting. That talks only about chanting. So if you see, chanting of the holy name is mentioned in almost all the scriptures, and that is the main activity in the Kali Yuga. That is the Yoga Dharma. So that is to be followed. That is the main religious practice. And if you sound it difficult to do, hundreds and thousands of people around the globe are doing it. So I don't see any difficulty in this. The only thing is you have to come in contact with right people at right place and do right things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm Sanvi Pandey,
Hare Krishna. Yes, Sanvi.
and my question was, how did you initially become interested in spirituality, and
How
what
do
were
you?
the influences or experiences that shaped your spiritual journey?
Okay, the realizations are you talking about?
Yeah,
Okay. So, once you accept and once you start performing as instructed, in a very short time, you start getting realizations. Now, when you say realizations, it doesn't mean that you can produce anything out of the air and do some chamatkar, and this is not the kind of spirituality which actually works. So, what are spiritual realizations? Spiritual realization essentially means that you start understanding the difference between the body and the soul. Is there a difference between the body and the soul? Yes. So, what is the difference between live body and dead body? Once Prabhupada went to MIT, not your MIT, the original MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Now, there, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was taken, and he was toured around the different departments of the university. Now, when everything was done, Prabhupada came and he asked, "This is all fine, but where is the department which teaches you the difference between a live body and a dead body?" And the professors were stunned over there. We don't have such department. So, this is the point. We have taken birth, and if we have taken birth, eventually everybody has to die. Anybody here has come to live uh, without any interferences and eternally? No, that's not possible. People who have come before us have left their bodies. Maybe who have come after us, we have seen them leaving their bodies. So even we have to leave our body. So what is the difference between live body and dead body? So the difference between live body and dead body is the existence of the soul. The same soul is called as Atma, Jivatma, Ruh in different languages. So what is spirit? Spirit is soul. This spirit is actually infusing consciousness in your body. Because of the spirit, you can write, read, see, think, walk, talk. You can do everything because of the spirit. What is spiritual? Spiritual means related to the spirit. So, what is the spirit soul? The spirit soul, you cannot experience the spirit soul, you cannot experiment the spirit soul because it is not on the material platform. You can experiment with matter, you can experiment with something which is produced from this material world, But the thing which is not from this material world, you cannot experiment around it. So people ask proofs. How do you experiment and prove that spirit exists? You are talking this nonsense, that means the spirit exists. Simple thing. If you are asking a proof, and if you are able to talk, is the proof that the spirit exists. So if the spirit exists, you need to understand the structure of the spirit, the constitution of the spirit. Where you will be able to understand it? You will be able to understand only through the scriptures, nothing else. Now you study engineering, right? You all are engineering students? No, then? English honors. Okay, very good. So you are studying literature, right? So now if you are studying literature, literature has fiction also. Where does fiction comes? From the mind. है ना? You structure a fiction, and you, now if you are really good at your language, if you are really good at your presentation, you can make it feel real. है ना? Fiction can be made feel real. So there are so many things that we imagine, but not always our imaginations are perfect, right? There are certain set of rules. When you study literature, when you study language, there are certain set of rules that you need to follow. Why are these rules set, and who has set them? Now you cannot go and challenge that I will use a pronoun instead of a noun, or I'll use a verb instead of a noun. You cannot go and, you have to follow those without questioning. We do a lot of things without questioning. You are riding a bike on the road, stop at the red light. Now if somebody starts questioning, who decided that I should stop at the red light, why shouldn't I stop at the green light? Will that make any sense? No. There are certain set of rules that we need to follow. Similarly, the scriptures is that those set of rules that have been given to us as an instruction manual. Follow this. Now if you go and challenge it, who is going to suffer? You get some gadget at home, right? The gadget comes with an instruction manual, how to operate it, operational manual. Now if you ignore the instructions given in the operational manual and start operating the gadget as per your own whims, is it going to work? No. There's a television, you need to input an audio cable into the port. You say, no, I'll put the power cable into this audio port. Is it going to work? It will blast. So we have certain instructions given in the scriptures. Those need to be understood, those need to be followed. Once you start following, what happens is you start differentiating your body with your soul. And that is spiritual realization. To realize the existence of the spirit is spiritual realization. Now to go to this understanding, you need to go deeper. That is why I talked about the third dimension of life. We just go horizontal, we go vertical, we don't go deep. So going deeper in yourself, what was literature aimed at? The literature actually helps you to go more deep inside yourself, to more understand your mind, to understand emotions, to understand intelligence. See, any literature devoid of emotions, devoid of feelings, is it going to appeal the audience? No. So where does these emotions come from? Where does these feelings come from? Who governs our feelings? Who governs our understandings? Who governs our, emotions and feelings make a big difference. It makes a big difference in life, right? Journalism is it's completely based on managing emotions of people. You read a news or you hear something sensational, you immediately start making opinion about it. And a mass opinion can change realms. So communication in language is so important because it contains feelings, it can communicate feelings, it can communicate emotions. Where does this arise from? Who governs the feelings and emotions? Is it not important to understand? It's very important to understand. If you want to grow personally, it is important to understand how this mechanism of emotions and feelings. Now, when you say growing professionally, professional means no emotions. Does that really apply? It doesn't apply. Because even if you are working professionally, you are dealing with people, and people has emotions. A person without emotion is nothing better than a machine. है ना. So emotions can make or break things in life, feelings can make and break things in life, opinions can make and break things in life. How to disassociate yourself from the emotions, from the feelings, and from the opinions which are detrimental to your growth? You can only do it when you realize your spirit, when you realize the difference between the body and the spirit. And that is the actual purpose of spiritual life. You must be able to differentiate in the body and the soul. And when you are able to do that, I'll tell you, you come out with a completely different approach towards life. And that's very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Manasi Kulkar.
Yes, Manasi.
Before asking my question, I wanted to request that our friend Pari, she's on backstage. She wants to come on stage. So could you
Who's
please
that? Pari?
add?
Okay. I'm sorry. I think she. I'm so sorry, Pari. I thought you left and I could not see your window to add you back. Thank you so much.
Okay. So
Thanks for pointing it, Manasi. Yeah.
yeah, coming back to my question. So spirituality often seeks deeper understanding between us and our universe, the self and the universe. So what are the transformations that happened in your life during this spiritual pathway that you took?
Yeah. So, see, when we are ignorant, we are completely surrendered to anger, envy, illusion, which is called as Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. So, we are completely surrendered to our own vices, our own shortcomings. Uh, these actually make a lot of effect. Many of you guys might also be feeling that sometimes anger becomes out of control. You become disproportionately angry. Does that help you or does that affect you badly? It affects you badly, right? It really makes a great difference in your relationships if you are not in control with your anger, envy, illusion. Now, if you want to stay, these in the scriptures are called Shad Ripu. Shat is six, and Ripu is the enemies. These are the six enemies. Where are these enemies staying? They are staying inside you. Anger is inside you. Desires are inside you. Envy is inside you. Illusion is inside you. So all these things are inside you, and you are carrying these enemies day in and day out. Now, if they are your enemies, what do you expect them to do? Are they going to do any benefit to you? No. Enemy is not there to benefit you. It will always harm you. Now, in such cases, if we are staying with amongst a group of strong enemies, I think that's the worst thing. Now, what happens when you start pursuing spiritual life? When you start pursuing spiritual life, you actually suppress these enemies. You can control your anger, you can control your emotions, you can control envy towards somebody else. You know, it's very detrimental to our relationships to have envy towards anybody. Could it be a friend? Could it be a relative? Could it be anywhere? Could it be a colleague? You know, so these things are detrimental to our own personal well-being, our mental well-being. Now there is so much being talked about mental well-being now. You know, you guys hear about mental well-being? Now this mental well-being is already mentioned in the Gita ages ago. If you see in the second chapter of the Gita, Krishna says what is the problem. So he says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa, Sangasteshu Upajayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodho Vijayate, Krodad Bhavati Sammohat, Sammohat Smrti Vibramaha, Smrti Varmashad Buddhinasho, Buddhinashad Pranashyati. It's a whole chronology. Pranashyati. How do we destroy ourselves? Pranashyati is Nash. हमारा नाश कैसे होता है? This is a whole chronology in 2 verses it describes. So where does it start from? It starts from dhyayato vishayan pumsa. When we meditate on a certain sense object, we all have senses in our body. We have senses to see, senses to hear, senses to taste, senses to touch, you know. So this, and we have sense objects, roop, ras, gandha, sparsha, shabda. With eyes we have rupa, form. With nose we smell. With the ear we hear. With the tongue we taste, and with the skin we experience the touch. So these are the sense objects. Now what we do is we meditate on sense object. What is meditating on sense objects? If we find something, now I remember when just the cellular phone technology was getting introduced, there was one company which was called as Idea. Abhi to wo zyada hai nahi, it's not non-existing now. So when at those times a call used to cost 32 rupees and the handset was this big, you know, and people used to demean somebody who is carrying a cell phone. क्या पागल आदमी है, साला सेल फोन लेके घूमता है, 32 रुपए का कॉल है, this and that. So now they wanted to create urgency. So what did they do? They wanted to create a requirement. So what do? They put up hoardings. Nowadays also you see hoardings been put on every light post along the roadside. You see that? Now what do? Is going along the road we start meditating. And once we start meditating, we really start feeling the urgency, we start feeling the requirement in our life, and we try to do anything and everything to acquire things. You find an ad of iPhone 14, iPhone 15, iPhone 16, I don't know what is going to be. But then desires arise. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. When you meditate on sense objects, desires arise. Sangasteshu upajayate. Sangat sanjayate kama. Kama is desire. Now, it is not going to happen that every desire is going to get fulfilled, is it? No. Many of our desires are always unfulfilled. So, when desires are unfulfilled, what happens? Kamad krodho bijayate. Anger is arisen. What does happen when one gets angry? Krodhat bhavati sammohat. He becomes mesmerized in anger. Sammohat smriti vibramaha. One gets mesmerized, one gets out of his minds. Smriti brahmashad buddhinasho. He loses his intelligence because of getting out of his mind. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Everything gets destroyed. So what is the basis? The basis is calm. The basis is desire. So these desire can make you or break you. Desire in a proper way can make you, desire in a wrong way can break you. So spiritual life, what does it do? It helps you to channelize your desire. It's not that you will be desireless, it never happens. But it helps you to channelize your desires. It helps you to have a proper purpose of your life. A purposeless life is just walking a path which has no destination and only frustration. If you have no destination, what is going to happen? Keep walking, 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 walking. What will happen? You don't know where you want to reach. You don't know when are you going to reach. You don't know how soon or how later are you going to reach. What will happen? It's complete frustration. And this frustration will destroy you. So what does spiritual life do? It helps you to keep frustration away by enlightening you on the spiritual path.
Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Who's that?
Pari.
Pari. Okay. Yeah. Tell me, Pari. Yeah.
I just had one request. Sanvi went backstage as well. So can you please uh, make her join the meeting again?
Which one?
Me.
So, okay. I think that's going below the screen, so I'm not able to see that. Please point me out if something similar happens. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pari.
Yes. So, my question to you is like in today's diverse world, there are like numerous spiritual traditions and belief systems. So, like, how do you approach and promote tolerance and respect for the different spiritual perspectives and practices?
Okay. See, spirituality means tolerance. The basis of spirituality is tolerance. It is said Titikshvaka Karunikaha Surdas Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. This is what a sadhu is. What do you mean by sadhu? Sadhu, one who is following the scriptures. He is called as sadhu. Sadhu is not one who is wearing saffron robes and having a beard and long hairs and roaming around. No. A sadhu is one who is following the scriptures. Everybody can be a sadhu. Even you can be a sadhu by following the scriptures. So, who is a sadhu? So, the first definition of sadhu is titikshavaha. What is titikshavaha? Titiksha means tolerance. A sadhu cannot be intolerant. So, tolerance is an imbibed quality of Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is based on tolerance. Now, when you talk about intolerance, it is just an illusion to state that we have intolerance in Sanatan Dharma. No, Sanatan Dharma is not intolerant. But at the same time, Sanatan Dharma is also not coward. Yeah. Krishna promoted the Mahabharata war just to make sure that dharma exists and adharma doesn't. You cannot promote adharma on the name of on the name of tolerance. So when you have to balance these both things, it is more essential that you fight out the wrong things intellectually rather than doing it physically. So what we believe in ISKCON specifically is that instead of taking any physical aggression, you must be aggressive intellectually. Talk right, speak right, follow right. You know, everything has to be a base. Everything has to be a scriptural base. You cannot, injunctions cannot come out of whims. Spiritual injunctions cannot come out of whims. It needs to has a scriptural base. So once you follow this, and scriptures never teach you to become intolerant. They never teach you to become violent. So non-violence is at most important, but at times you also need to be intellectually aggressive to put your point in a proper manner so that people can understand. This will help the masses, and that is what we do in our outreach programs. So if you see, there are people from all walks of life, from all religions, from all sects of life, and they coexist very happily in ISKCON. You will find a lot of Muslim devotees, you will find a lot of Christian devotees, you will find a lot of Jew devotees, you will find a lot of African sects getting connected to ISKCON, you will find a lot of Sinhalese sect connecting to ISKCON, you will find a lot of Buddhist monks getting connected to ISKCON. Now, they all exist very cordially, and at the same time, nobody is getting converted because they are understanding the basic principle of dharma. So this principle of global fraternity, Prabhupada used to say a very wonderful statement. If you want global fraternity, global brotherhood, you need to have a global father. How can you have a global brotherhood without a global fatherhood? And who is that global father? Krishna is the only person who claims that he is global father. Aham bija pradapita, he says. Nobody else can claim this. He says that I am the seed giving father for all living entities. So he is the global father. So if he is the global father, then we can become global brothers and sisters. So this is how global fraternity can exist. Without a global father, global fraternity cannot exist. And if you can see, this is happening all around the world. We have people from different countries, different ethnicities, different nationalities, different religion coming together and chanting Hare Krishna. This is the simple thing.
Before we move on to the next question, I would like to ask something. There are obviously not the whole world does not follow Krishna, or they don't believe in it. So um, how can we actually tell someone that you have to interact with us just as intellectually, because not every person would agree with us when we are trying to fight with intelligence. They might try to get physically violent. So how can we argue with that?
See, there are two things. People can sometime be very attached to their opinion and, as you said, try to defend themselves physically if they cannot defend it intellectually. Nonetheless, we have the right to protect ourselves, but at the same time, if the principles are extremely based on the extreme truth, nobody can deny it. I have seen highly atheistic people at some point of time going ahead in life and getting convinced and have accepted Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness is not an opinion that we want to enforce or bombard on somebody. It's the truth of life. Are you breathing? Are you breathing? Are you breathing? What are you breathing? Oxygen? Everybody of us is breathing oxygen. Now, if you want to fight it intellectually, no, no, I am not breathing oxygen, I am breathing carbon dioxide. For the sake of arguing, you can do that. Neither I can prove nor you can prove that you are breathing carbon dioxide. Right? This can happen only for the sake of proving your point. But does it change the truth? It doesn't change the truth. The truth is unchanged, unchangeable. It never changes. So, if the truth never changes, sooner or farther, people accept the truth because it's in their existence. Blood is flowing through our body. Can you see the blood? But it's still flowing through our body. How do you know it? Because you are alive. It's the truth. Now you cannot say that no, no, my body doesn't flow blood, it flows water. This is foolish argument. So even if people accept Krishna as a supreme lord or no, it hardly makes a difference. He is the supreme lord. No matter when you accept or you don't accept in this life, it hardly makes a difference. But it is our duty to help people understand. Sooner or later, they do understand. Now, you'll find Gita getting published into almost all the major languages. 130 languages you get Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's got published in Arabic language, in Urdu language, in Sindhi language, in Mandarin. The Chinese government translated and published Bhagavad Gita as it is because they found it's helping their citizens. Whereas China is a communist country. It's a communist country. What do you mean by communist country? You are not allowed to talk or follow religion in China openly. It's that kind of a country, and they have published Bhagavad Gita as it is, authored by Srila Prabhupada in Mandarin language. So why are people doing this? Just because they are seeing the benefits. It is not about putting forth our opinion or accepting somebody else's opinion. It's about the truth of life. If you have fire burning over here, a small kid comes and he says that I don't believe that fire will burn me. And he goes and puts his hand in fire. What will happen? It will burn. Regardless whether you believe or no. So where is the question of faith? There is no question of faith. If somebody says that I don't believe that I will die, what the hell is that going to make a difference? Is he going to be eternal just by the belief? No. A person when the time comes will die. So these are laws of nature. You cannot deny them. The best proposition is that you understand, accept, follow, and implement. That will make you happy. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare
My name
Krishna.
is, and I really connected when you said that uh, y- Gita does not teach you learnings; it teaches you how to live those learnings. So, and I also believe that spirituality teaches you purpose. It guides you towards your purpose. So, my question is, it's a very personal question. Can you describe a specific moment in your life where the teachings from Bhagavad Gita or your spiritual beliefs helped you overcome any challenge you were facing at that point, or
Oh,
it maybe
so many.
provided you with any clarity? So,
So
if you
many.
can,
Yeah. So I was also a college going young man like you girls, and I was studying my mechanical engineering. There was a time where I was also addicted to a lot of things. But I found that that is actually harming my mental and physical health. The moment I took shelter of the teachings of Gita, I could find that insurmountable habits. Generally, habits are extremely difficult to change. Insurmountable habits got changed in a fraction of second, in a day. In a day, I can say. You know, I used to smoke almost 20 cigarettes a day. 20 cigarettes a day. This is 25 years ago. So it is said that every saint has a past and every thief has a future. है ना? So I used to smoke 20 cigarettes a day with 18 to 20 cups of tea. The only thing I didn't do is I never womanized, I never had drugs, and I never ate gutka. Now gutka is banned nowadays, but those days it was like a passionate addiction, eating gutka. Everything else, I could find the moment I started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the moment I started reading the Bhagavad Gita, I came out of this in a day, I can say. Yesterday I was smoking 20 cigarettes, today zero. That is the level of effect it can have on your life. You can change yourself upside down. Upside down. And if you can see any fraction of conviction in my words, it is just because of my personal experience. This does happen. I've seen people, coming to the temple. I really want to do this podcast with one of our devotees. There's a devotee in our community. So he used to be on the highs 24/7. Liquor, drugs, everything, prostitution, illegal weapons, association with big dons, bhais they used to call it at that time, everything. So this person came in contact with devotees. Now he is on the national body of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know what is Alcoholics Anonymous? This is a body which helps people to stay away from addiction, especially alcoholism. So he is on the national body as a counselor on Alcoholics Anonymous to help people get out of addiction. This is the level of effect that spiritual life has on you. If you follow it properly through a proper parampara system under a proper guidance, it can change your life upside down. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience, sir. I have one more question. Uh, it is often believed that those who are science students or those who believe in science do not believe in God. But you have busted this myth that you are a mechanical engineer and you believe in Hare Krishna. And I feel that it'd be good to ask you, how can the combination of science and spirituality together benefit the world?
So, spirituality is scientific in the first place. There is no difference between science and spirituality. Our science, what we call it as, is limited only to matter. Spirituality is a different dimension of science, which we have not touched as of now. So it is not that people of scientific minds don't believe in God. Even Albert Einstein has said that the more deeper I go into the realities of this material world, I find a different dimension to this material existence, and I cannot deny the existence of a supreme energy or supreme power who has created and is controlling the entire material world. So we have to change the paradigm of what science looks into. It's not only matter. See, our body, is it only matter? No, it is not only matter, it has spirit. That is why matter is growing. Otherwise, can matter grow? If you keep a stone over here in the room, can that stone grow overnight? No. But if you keep a plant, a live plant, you can see it growing. Why? Because it has life. So, what is life? Life is the proof of existence of spirit. Only spirit can make matter grow. Our body is growing. Why? Because it exists with the spirit. Now, what our science, what we call is that science does, it only deals with matter. Whereas the matter has a great influence of spirit on it. Now, mind is what? Mind is a material element. In Gita, Krishna says there are 8 material elements. Bhumir, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Kham, Mana, Buddhir, Evacha, Ahankaram, Itiyam mein Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. So you have learned about Panchamahabhut, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are 5 material elements. But there are 3 subtle material elements. What are those? Those are mind, intelligence, and false ego. Mana, buddhi, mithya ahankar. These are material elements. So science doesn't even deal with complete material elements. It only deals with the 5 elements. Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. It doesn't deal with mana, buddhi, mithya ahankar. It cannot deal with ego. The scientists themselves cannot deal with their own ego. What will they deal with the ego as a principle? So if you see, science has not gone to the stage wherein they can understand the complete material existence or the material creation. So mind is on the material platform, intelligence is on the material platform, ego is on the material platform, and beyond this there is soul. So we have not even touched the 3 subtle aspects. What are we talking about soul? But does that mean that soul is unscientific? No, it's not unscientific. It has a deeper science, because soul is the basis of your existence. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are performing, whatever you are thinking, willing, feeling, acting, speaking, hearing, seeing, is only because of soul. So everything that is scientific is happening, the basis soul. Do you think soul is going to be unscientific? We have just not touched that dimension of science. The day when this happens, every single person on this earth will agree to this fact.
Sir,
Thank you so much.
before we end the interview, I also had another question that there are people who lose their cause, so they don't exactly know where in life they are heading. And even when they try to devote themselves to the Lord Krishna, they still can't exactly figure out a way, and they just end up going nowhere. So how does that happen, and how can, like, there could be so many different outcomes of the same following?
So even if somebody has such incidents or instance in life where he has got distracted from the mainstream path, even in that case, Krishna says in Gita that swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Even if a small fraction of thing you follow according to the dharma, according to what I say, he says specifically in Bhagavad Gita, swalpam. Swalpa means very small. A small deed according to what Krishna says is followed. He says trayato mahato bhayat. You get relieved from the extreme fear. What is the extreme fear? What do you feel is the extreme fear of life? Death. Losing this body is the extreme fear. And there are also small fears. Feeling of rejection, fear of loss, fear of failure. There are so many fears. So he says, Trayato Mahato Bhayat. The ultimate fear also you will get relieved from. So even if one gets distracted, Krishna is so merciful that he brings it back and makes him situated on the path of the main purpose. Now, how do one find a proper purpose or a proper path even after understanding that this is important? How do you get into proper course of action and proper association and proper guidance? So for that you need to associate with somebody who is doing this day in and day out with a proper understanding. Once you do this, those mentors, those group of devotees will help you to stay focused, not distracted, and follow the proper path and going towards pursuing your goal.
This was a wonderful session, and I had one last request from you. Is there any sort of message that you would have for us or our generation in general?
So when I talk to students like you guys of your age, I really find, you guys are too sharp, too energetic, too progressive. You're too fast. You're absolutely fast. You carry a great deal of energy, you know, and that's absolutely fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I look towards the younger generation. I find a great deal of energy in them. But then I also become afraid, you know. It's so fearsome. The more energy you carry in a small bundle, it can be more devastating if you don't channelize it properly. And this is what is happening. You are so fast that you can progress and reach a destination in any direction, up or down, very quickly. So whenever I talk to students like these, I request them, please help your energy to channelize in a better way. Don't waste it, and have your mind into this box, look and discriminate things, and take proper actions in life. One wrong action in this early age will take you in the wrong direction for a long time. For a long time. This body is very precious. We have been gifted with this wonderful body, and we can do amazing things with this body and intelligence that we carry. But if we do something which can harm this body or mind or intelligence, this will give a longer repercussion in life. Second thing, it's very easier for you guys to get frustrated because you have born in a generation where everything is very quick. If you don't get a reply on a WhatsApp in a few minutes time, you get frustrated on that person. We are from the generation when there used to be only landlines to call a person, you know. So because of these things, you expect everything very quickly. You want everything quickly. You want a reply quickly, you want a result quickly, you want a thing to be done very quickly. And if by some or the other way things gets delayed, it's very easy for you to get frustrated. So there's a lack of patience. There's a lack of determination. There's a lack of perseverance. I think these qualities, if the younger generation can imbibe in their personality, the energy that they carry, they can take this world to a different level. They can take this world to a completely different level. But if these things cannot be channelized, I think that's going to be the biggest destruction of the history of mankind. It's going to be a great devastation, and that's why, especially, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed Bharat Bhumite Manushya Janma Hoila Jar. He specifically instructed for those who have born in the land of holy land of Bharat. Bharat Bhumite Manushya Janma Hoila Jar Janma Sarthaka Kari Karo Paropkar. So one who has taken birth in the holy land of Bharat, it's his duty or her duty to do what? Janma Sarthak Kari. First to perfect our lives and then do Paropkar. What is Paropkar? Helping others to do the same thing. So Janma Sarthak Kari Karo Paropkar. And we, the younger generation of Bharat, can really show the world the right path. There's no need to blindly follow what they say. They are no more intelligent than us. Please get off this complex first. We have the biggest treasure that the world has ever cherished in form of the timeless knowledge that we possess. The Vedas, the scriptures, they are extremely valuable. Don't ignore them and run behind a mirage that the Western culture is throwing in front of us. No, it's going to delude you. It's going to put you in a big soup, because their society is degrading. There's a problem. You know what the problem is of Italy is now? Italy is having the lowest birth rate ever they had. Lowest birth rate ever they had. 25 years down the line, Italy is going to come in a huge financial crisis. The United Nations has warned Italy, take quicker actions on this. They have the lowest infertility rate. Their economy is going to crumble. There'll be a civil unrest. Everything is, it's going to take them to a very worst condition. So the world, the civilizations all around the world are suffering with different problems. There's only one civilization, the Hindu Sanatan civilization, which has answers to all the problems of the world. That is the best part that we possess. We have answers to everything. The only thing is, we need to first understand and perfect our lives. If we do that, we are going to be the guiding light, the torch light for the entire world going ahead. In true sense, we will be Jagat Guru.
This was an amazing interview, and we are so grateful that we got to hear every insight that you gave. And we all would like to thank you for this. So, with this, we conclude this interview. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and I look forward to see you guys and more of your friends coming often to the temple, associate with devotees, and help the world getting on the right path.
Thank you so
I hope I
much.
have not bored you along.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
almost being an hour or so, and look forward for more association in future. Thank you.
Thank you.